The Moore family have long been synonymous with success around Sandown Park, with the likes of Sire De Grugy and Armad among their most iconic winners. And trainer Gary reflects on some happy memories of the Tingle Creek chase. The Tingle Creek itself, what are your earliest memories?
To be quite honest, it was Tingle Creek.
Yeah.
And watching, I think it was David Mould who was riding him then, go down and standing off a million miles from them fences, It's some sight to watch, because he was really bold horse, front running and just used to gallop along and meet every fence spot on, luckily. And it just takes me back to then.
And it's aptly named because I suppose he typified everything that you need to be to win that race.
That's
now.
Right, yeah. I think it was a handicap in them days. I can't remember when it changed to a conditions race, but I think it was a handicap then.
Do you just love, as a fan of the sport, do you love watching those 2 milers fly around and over those railway fences, the test that it is, because they zip, don't they?
They do, yeah, they go some gallop. You have to appreciate it, you have to be down there really to realise how fast they are actually galloping, and jumping at speed is just something to watch.
Other than your own horses, and to mention Tingle Creek, of course, himself, the list of great winners is pretty much endless. Which ones sort of really stand out in your mind?
Was it Masterminded?
Yeah.
Of Paul Nichols's? Did he win 3? I think was it. He was an amazing horse, and then Sire De Grugy.
And with Sire De Grugy, was that a dream fulfilled?
It was, and it's full credit to the horse really as well to win 4 Grade 1s jumping in one season. This is what he did, just amazing, and he was brilliant that day as well.
He had that special year, didn't he, 2013-14,
Yeah,
but to take us back to that actual day, to be able to turn around and say that you trained a winner at such a special course, in such a special race, but to have your son ride it, can you even put words on what that meant to the family?
Probably not, because I'm not clever enough to do that, but it's just a very special day, and that's why you do this job, because you do have special days, and it sometimes can get outnumbered by the bad days,
How do you reflect on those years with Sire De Grugy when you sit back and think about them now?
Yeah, I just realise how lucky I was to train such a good horse, but you have to move on.
And you've been here where we are now 10 years?
Yeah, 10 going on 11, yeah.
And how special has that decade been?
It's been, it's had a lot of very good days, but it's has a few bad days as well, It's not all good days, believe me.
And to watch Josh, and we know how hands-on Jamie is. One day, a long way down the line, because you're loving what you're doing, will it be them that takes over one day?
Yeah, I just hope Josh will give me a job, That's my only worry. Yeah, that's.
Would you think he'd be quite a hard boss?
I think he'd be hard, but I think he'd also be very fair as well,
But for him, we know how well Jamie's doing. Josh's riding career, is that only a few steps away from going up another level, hopefully?
It is, but it's a tough game out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I sometimes think you're better if you've got an Irish language speaking. I think you seem to do better. But no, it's tough out there, and I think he's brilliant, and I always will do.
Do you love your job?
I do. If you didn't love your job, you wouldn't get up at 5 o'clock every morning and do what you do, is it? I do. I do. If you said to me, do you want to go for a week in Barbados or stay here, I'd probably rather stay here.
What's the dream? I read earlier that Traffic Fluid might be hopefully a national horse this year. I couldn't believe that. I know we associate you with having some really good 2-mile hurdlers and so on, but I couldn't believe you actually haven't had a runner in the Grand National yet.
Never had a runner in it. Never had a runner in the Topham either, But I never felt I had the horse to run in that.
Yeah.
But I really do think he should be given his chance in it.
Be a hell of a thrill to go there with a live chance, wouldn't it?
It certainly would be, and I think he will have a live chance. I really do,
And what's the dream race? You've won a champion chase, you've won a couple of Tingle Creeks. Sire De Grugy was a wonderful horse. You've won a number of Grade 1s. But what's the dream race in the calendar for Gary Moore?
I'd love to win a champion hurdle.
Would you?
Yeah, I really would love. I love speed, and I'd love to win a champion. I'd love to get a horse to win a Triumph hurdle and progress on through. That would be one thing I'd love to do.
So have you always been quite captured by the 2 miles? The great sort of hurdlers of the 1970s, from Comedy of Errors, Lanzarote and all that. Did that really capture you at the time?
Yeah, and Isterbrack as well,
Yeah.
And the great one was
Yeah.
Sea Pigeon. I loved it when Franken won on Sea Pigeon. I thought that was just brilliant, you know.
And he's the sort of model of a national hunt horse, isn't he? Oh, you ran in a derby at 3,
Yeah,
but he
that's
was
right.
still winning a champion hurdle at 11.
Yeah,
that's what we
right,
love,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. And do we see them anymore? Very, very rarely, you know.
Grade 1 winning jockey Josh Moore has been enjoying another fine season, with big race success on Traffic Fluid, and away from the saddle has been playing an important role in the running of Siswood Stables.
I've always been about the place every day when I've not been racing, and with injuries over the last few years I've probably had spells when I've been here full on uninterrupted, and you sort of get to know what's going on each day, and then once you are up to date with what's going on a day-to-day basis, it's hard to leave it go, if you know what I mean. So
Do you struggle with that sometimes?
we're lucky that there's a good bunch of people here that everything sort of runs itself to an extent, and then it's just nice to know what's going on. And obviously Dad's here all the time, Jamie's here riding out every day, so between us it all works quite well. And then I do like being involved. It's probably in the future it's what I'd like to carry on doing, you know. So
Is that once the riding career is over?
Yeah, I've taken a big interest in the training so far, and I would love to carry on what Dad's sort of made for us, if you like, and then hopefully with Jamie as well, you know.
He said that hopefully when you take over you'll give him a job one day.
Yeah, I think his CV's all right.
I just want to talk about a couple of the star horses in the yard at the moment, and you had that fantastic day back in November. Unfortunately you were out injured, and Jamie was on board Baron Alco, but to win a huge race like that for the yard is a real springboard going into the rest of the season, isn't it?
Yes, big time. It came at a great time of year. It's, to me, like it's one of the hardest handicaps of the year to win. It's the first one of the year that everyone sort of targets, and we were very lucky that we had the right horse for the job. He'd shown his form over the track in the past, and he'd come back from injury at Chepstow with a good run after 18 months off, and you're always concerned whether they're going to back it up that second run back, you know, but he did it very well, and it was great that he won when he did. You always want to win the big races at the beginning of the season, because it sort of sets you off on your way, as much as you want to win at the end of the season. But you know, it's good to gets a bit of momentum up and gets a bit of confidence behind the horses and everyone involved, I think. So it was good. And
the natural progression would be to take him to the Caspian Caviar. Not too many horses have done the double. I suppose you think of the very good Exotic Dancer a few years ago. He goes on to the new course, but we've talked about that, and you said that the new course shouldn't prove any issue for him. He's got form on it.
Yeah, I believe he was second as a novice there in a novice chase behind Whisper, giving him weight, which is good form, and he also was second at the festival in the plate over the course and distance, giving weight to a very well handicapped horse at the time, and Road to Respect. So you know, the change of track shouldn't be an issue, that's for sure. The one thing to remember him is he's a horse that's got heart. He gets out in a rhythm, jumps along, gallops along, and he gives his all, you know. So he's a horse that complications. There is no complications with him, in the sense that conditions shouldn't seem to matter.
Do you think he's got that little? He has. I mean, he's not had that much racing, particularly over fences, for a horse of his age. Do you think that each run he's had back, I know he put up a massive performance at Cheltenham, but might that have brought him on a little bit more?
It could well have done. Like, I'm a believer that horses, they do better with racing in a season. You know, you know, I think they improve for a run until they get to a point where they've had too much for the year. You know, and when they're in form, like the old saying, "Make hay while the sun shines," and hopefully that will apply with him.
He ran in the Scilliars, didn't he, a couple of seasons ago as a novice, and he acquitted himself well. Do you think by the end of the season he might be in pattern races? You'd
think he'd get on that way, you know. As I say, he's a very straightforward horse, and he'll run his race. And maybe whether he'd lack the class to win a pattern race, but show up and give it a good go, he definitely would. And you know, he'd probably at the end of the year, you'd be thinking you'd pitch him in one and see how he gets on, for sure.
What did Jamie say when he came back after that day? Because I suppose 18 went out, he went from the front, and none of the drama behind was ever anywhere near him, and only 6 came home. Was Jamie aware of what was going on behind him?
I'm not sure he was, but he was out in his rhythm in front, jumping from fence to fence, doing what the horse does. And you know, you get it's amazing on good ground when they're going fast, how important it is not to miss a beat, and that showed in that race, you know, and little interferences here, horses getting brought down, and that he avoided all that out in front, and you know, he done all he could, and that's the thing with him. He found his rhythm, and probably Jamie wasn't aware of what was going on there.
Didn't matter,
Didn't
didn't it?
matter, no.